All right. Hello and welcome to. All right. Hello and welcome to. All right. Hello and welcome to. Who's that going? Hello and welcome to. I liked it.
Probably
I
you.
liked it. I liked it. Okay. Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Drivers, the only podcast where we role play with professional race drivers and sim racers. This week on the show we have Nick Foster.
I'm out.
We have Nick Foster. He's designed his own character, and he's decided he's a young lizard person with red scales. He wears chainmail. He has a short sword, a long tail, and a massive penis. So
and a very important role in the New World Order.
Wow. Okay. Was not expecting any of that.
It's weird because you sent me that character sheet over, but hey.
I do remember that.
Filled out my own form.
That's I think that's what they call it. Yeah. Yeah. So pretty exciting on the pod. You know, a little massive.
This is also a podcast
penis.
where we discuss iRacing up to but not above 42% of the time.
That's right. So. It's the only podcast that talks about iRacing less than half the time. Or something. But less than half, but more than 25, that might be it.
I mean, yeah, iRacing is definitely featured at various points in our discussion as it meanders through the stream of human consciousness.
For real though, this week on the pod is once again my good friend Manny and Nick, massive lizard penis Foster.
I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't get the tag like good friend, but look, the reality is it wouldn't go both ways, so I kind of understand why you wouldn't.
Wow, okay.
It's very different,
it's
I would say, Nick, from me introducing you versus Tom introducing you.
I mean, I guess you got to ask yourself, do you want you got to really think about this, Nick. Okay,
do I want to be a lizard with a massive penis?
Would you rather be my friend or have a massive penis? I think the answer is clear.
He seems to be doing just fine on both ends.
Whoa. Okay. So we're here for iRacing, right?
Kinda.
I thought we were talking ACC today.
Oh shit. The best tire model, the only tire model we're talking about.
Did some laps today of that.
Did you?
How was it?
Good, actually.
Was it because you turned off force feedback, or?
Rude.
Well, here's the deal, right? We're back again. My co-hosts have no idea what we're talking about. In fact, they asked me before we started. I thought we could talk about a little Coke series. A little Coke series to start things off. What do you think about that?
I mean,
sure.
Just based on
pull up some information so I know what we're talking about.
I love it. Love to see
also,
it.
Big shout out to Dalty in the chat. Yo, Dalty, how's it going?
Dalty, would you rather be my friend or have a massive penis? I think everyone should just say that in the chat. Oh, there's an echo on their voices now? Neither.
Oh, neither.
Wow.
We have a pro gamer here.
Oh, that's weird. It's weird there's an echo on them. Can't imagine.
Can't imagine the guy involved in technical only got in his chair like 4 minutes ago and somehow there's no audio and vision and sound and there's problems. Oh my god, who would have thought?
Some of us have to do things. There you go.
Oh, good now. So it's good when you shut up, Tom. That seems like the conclusion here.
The man fixes the setting. We're good. Maybe I kind of liked the echo. I thought it was like ambiance, but anyway. Coke series.
We bring our own ambiance to this party.
Coke series. Last time, 2 weeks ago, or not the last race, but the race before, we actually were on air for the race. I don't know if you recall. And
that was maybe the most iRacing that we've ever covered in one episode.
Well, it is kind of important because if you remember, Keegan Leahy got destroyed in that race. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, a few of the top 8 did, yeah.
I don't know. Definitely Keegan. He was leading. Just pouring myself some coffee.
Tough out there.
It's not late here, and I have more Porsche practice after this. Nick, I think you have a beer, yes?
I am drinking the Lord's beer.
The Lord's
number 3,
beer.
baby.
That is excellent.
Maynard, I think, would cry seeing that. It would be a beautiful moment for him.
He was a little salty.
It has 2 sides, just so you know.
What's the other side? Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. It's perfect.
I almost spilled coffee on my lap. Would have been worth it, if I'm honest.
You would have been blessed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not have a lizard, you know what I mean. Anyway, so Keegan Leahy wrecked out of a couple weeks ago. This past week was the elimination race into the championship 4, the championship race. And at this point, I think Keegan basically needed a win or go home. And I do not have a lizard penis. No. Neither is it massive, I'm afraid. Kind of uncomfortable talking about this on the show. But hey, what we do for the show is what we do, buddy.
Being 0 for 2 is something that should come pretty naturally to you based on the Porsche qualifiers. But we'll continue with that later.
That's messed up. That's messed up. Thank you, Manny. When it comes to Porsche, I go more like 1 for 11. So, whether that's
the spirit.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting derailed. So these guys, we're in the championship.
Derailed on this podcast? No way.
We're talking about the elimination race, right? And this is actually, I mean, we don't need it. We're not really a news show here, but we had Zelensky in from the Roval. We had Ottinger in from Kansas, right? Kansas,
right?
And this week we got Michael Conti in from a win, who needed a win.
Doing it for Dale.
And so here's the thing, right? He from behind him, running in second for a lot of the race, was his roommate, Logan Clampett. This is kind of, I mean, I know the Real Series does this. What they have everyone. It's not just the playoff guys on the track. I understand, but it did feel a little. I mean, I don't know. Is it like? Maybe it's a question for Nick too. Like, is fair fair? If you make friends with someone and they give you a little favor and comes around, is that just the nature of the game? I don't know.
I don't know what the incident in question was. So
so his roommate, who isn't technically his teammate, I think they are they have like a technical alliance kind of thing. You know how a lot of the Coke guys aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. His roommate was behind him, who's not in the playoffs, right? And then Michael Conti needed to win, and Clampett is in second, and I don't know if I'd call it blocking, but it was definitely defending. For a good back
big
half.
Big Barrichello energy, would you call it?
It wasn't horrible. They got him on broadcast once in the middle, and hey, are you gonna are you gonna defend for your teammate? And he was like, or you're gonna defend for your roommate? And he said, oh, I don't want to say yes or no. It's probably pretty obvious. I don't know. Does it kind of water down the show? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I thought it was interesting. Like I don't know. It was like good entertainment, but maybe not like the best for like the sporting version of the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but who's to say that you get around Clampett, you get around Conti?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, we will never know if but I think the biggest thing was that Clampett might have been faster than Conti. That's kind of the deal. I think he probably would have tagged.
Fairly could have been that case, but yeah, when I mean, the reality is these guys aren't racing for, like, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe you can answer this. Do they have single race prize money, or is it more championship based?
They do, yeah.
They do have single race.
Yeah.
Yes. Single
it's
and
like
champion.
a few $100, I think. Yeah, and I think pays down the podium.
But if we're talking a few $100 for a win, or your roommate wins like what is it, 50,000, 100,000 for
100
a championship.
grand,
yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. No,
I mean, I agree. I'm just kind of questioning the format of having non-playoff drivers involved.
well then that's okay. Then have a race with only playoff
Yeah,
drivers.
have it with 8 people or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the real answer. No
I
playoffs,
think that's the
right?
reality of
reality
it.
when you go on the track.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we just have no playoffs. Is that? That's what I want.
Yes, best driver wins at the end of
Effectively,
the season.
Well, I
Some
actually,
series should try that sometime.
I do. Maybe I'll say this. What about this? This is the first. I think the playoffs is interesting, and I have fun watching the guys try to get in. But I'm not sure. This is the first year I think that Coke did win and you're in. And
Yes.
I'm not certain I like that. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. I mean, it's like exciting, but I do feel like the other guys who aren't in the playoffs have a lot of influence over if you win, whether, like.
In a lot of ways, though, I'd argue that makes it the most perfect relationship between the real life on track product and the virtual affiliate that
It's
in
more
any
realistic,
series.
yeah.
Honestly.
Closer.
Absolutely. Because that's exactly how it works in real life.
Yep.
I would think for the NASCAR teams. Like if one of the Hendricks guys out of the championship and he's in second, and then you have, one of the championship contenders on Hendrick in first place, obviously me being, the other Hendrick driver in second place, I'm gonna try and look out for, where I'm fed.
100%.
Nick, would you ever? What would if there was like playoffs implemented in like a series that you raced in? Do you think that would be like cool? It would be like fun for from a driving perspective. If you ran like a full, if you like were running like full.
I think it's hard to say because in like our format of racing, we technically having a playoff every weekend because you have good weekends, you have bad weekends. Whereas I think in NASCAR, where it's so much more a lottery in terms of whether you rock up, whether you're strong at this track, whatever. Like there's very few guys that are just monster all year round, except Kyle Busch because he's men. But like in general in our sport, like the guys who are racing for the championship are generally at the front. So there's no need for a playoff. And if there's going to be championships coming down to the wire, they always will. Have a look at GT Open today, finished with P2 firing P1 off into the gravel trap for the championship. GT Masters will go down to the wire with like a couple of points separating it next weekend. DTM is a bit more wide open because it's a manufacturer championship, but it can still be won in the last round. In our form of motorsport, I think it's fine. But for a bit more of a lottery, then that's where NASCAR's at.
So what you're saying is they needed a mildly artificial system to increase incitement at the end of the season.
Like,
I feel like that's probably a fair thing to say.
Like
with
heat
the NASCAR
races,
situation.
Cautions, playoffs,
Well,
rear wings, rear wings gone.
Rear wings.
Back. I mean,
to be fair,
many
I like
more
heat
Car
races
races.
they want?
tomorrow.
I like heat
Yeah.
races. Come on, I would if NASCAR went to heat races, I might like that.
So that's an interesting point. I would say that given the choice between stages and no stages, I prefer no stages. Just run what you brung till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
However, in the choice between no stages or heat races, I think I'd prefer the heat races.
Yeah.
I feel like NASCAR could do really well having a sprint and feature format.
Like you do like heats, like kind of like dirt track stuff. You're saying
two heats. Pick your starting position out of a hat and reverse it for the second heat, and then combine your two finishes. That's where you start the feature.
it might be fun too.
That's excellent. I would watch the shit out of that.
Mate, that's what go-karting is. You rock up, you get your entry, they give you a number, you start there and then reverse it for the next race. And then pre-final, you start where you finished, and then that's it.
How do you feel about that from a viewer standpoint, Tom. I'd watch the shit out of that. That sounds like fun.
I don't see why not. I mean, I wouldn't like that in Formula One because I think to me, I think qualifying is kind of part of the experience, and it is hard to pass.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
But NASCAR.
Yes, for NASCAR specifically.
I mean, I don't know. Show up and let them have at it. I think the worst races that I've watched this year have been half miles, and the ones that are. I mean, I like when they go green, but at
half
a certain
miles you could probably put down a lot to the package.
Mile and a half.
Yeah,
what did I say?
You can put a lot of the mile and a half down to the package.
That's fine. But just in general, I watched a mile and a half race. They spread out. I'm like, this race could have been this race could have been 100 miles. We could have 2 of them. I could have done anything. Would have been fun. It's not that I don't like the racing, but like, I don't know. I don't need to watch. It's not impressive that the cars can run 500 miles.
One thing that I think that the ongoing global pandemic has had a positive effect on in NASCAR is the shortened weekends with no practice time. Personally, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been an improvement on the on-track product over last year. I feel like it's maybe done a better job of separating the wheat from the chaff in terms of showing you who the top drivers are in the series.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I do think that I know a lot of people thought it might even out the teams. I don't really think that might be the case. It might even
might be farther. Yeah. Right.
Because teams with really good simulation packages and coming with cars that good right off the truck are going to be good no matter what.
Right.
So that honestly does not matter to me. I know it's like important for a lot of people, like having a really close parity, but like if Penske and Hendricks won every race, I do not give a shit. I mean, if they're better, then they're better.
If I'm entertained watching it, I don't necessarily care who wins.
I mean, I still watch F1.
The reality is, like, it depends what battle you're watching. Like, the race at the front can always be good or bad, but what about the race for, the guys who are trying to get into the top 30 to get the automatic entry for next year? Like, that race is just as exciting as the one happening at the front.
Absolutely.
Can be very interesting, yeah.
Guys that can't afford tires every week, so they're racing to get a new set for next weekend, or they buy a set for this weekend that they can't afford to try and get a leg up on the guys they're racing, so maybe they get that money back for next week. That's way more exciting than what's happening at the front.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe something that could feature more in the broadcast. I understand that from a amount of information available standpoint, obviously focusing on the Hendricks and the Penskes of the world is going to be a lot easier and a lot more relatable for a lot of the majority of the fan base. But I think something that Formula One maybe does better is highlighting some of the battles beyond the front and highlighting some of the teams that are trying to fight their way back into the midfield or fight from the midfield to bridge that gap to the Mercedes and Red Bull.
Well, it's probably a bit hard to kind of relate that. I mean, in F1, you're talking like teams that are building cars for hundreds of millions.
10 teams? And 10 teams.
Some are doing a really good job.
Teams.
Some are doing a really poor job. Some of it's due to budget, some of it's not. But when you're getting effectively the same car in NASCAR, how do you tell a fan like, oh, the car that's winning is because they've got more money and engineer it better than the car that is at the back when they've got the same chassis?
There are definitely a fair amount of NASCAR fans that are like interested in the technical aspects and watch the practice and such like that. But I think F1 broadcasts are just like superior in general in NASCAR. Here's one thing that I hate: the top ticker, and not like the tower that shows all the cars. Like in F1, you have you can see where everyone is all the time, right? In NASCAR, I can see about 5 ticking by, and then I'm like, okay, where the hell's such and such again? I have no idea what's happening.
And Redshift in chat brings up an excellent point. F1 does a better job of not treating their audience like idiots, and when they do educate the viewers, they assume a base level of knowledge. I 100% agree with that.
Even when they're like kind of doing stuff that like you or I might say, well, duh. I'm still like, oh, this is like put forth in a reasonable technical way. They're like talking about the tires, like, you know, this is the hard one and such. They're not like tire go fast, this tire go slow. Watch cars.
Tire go
like,
burr.
Yeah, I mean seriously. I don't know.
No, I guess we can use that as a segue into the F1 race.
One more thing.
No?
One more thing. Sorry.
Okay.
With Coke.
Right.
So
who ended up winning?
Coke. Yeah, who won?
Michael
what are we
Conti.
talking about?
Michael Conti won.
Right, Conti won.
We're getting
Jr.
Final four?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Michael Conti Jr. Yep, that's him. Oh shit, what's his name? Jimmy Mullis was like in the driver's seat to get in. Okay. Was running well. It was late, and then they had that late.
Was it Martinsville
accident.
and Coke too?
No, it's Texas.
Texas, okay.
Okay, tell me why don't they follow the?
They did.
Why don't they follow the NASCAR schedule?
No, they did.
Wasn't NASCAR at Martinsville?
No, they did it for the week ahead.
Okay.
Right. They're
Roger.
a week shifted. Sorry.
So their Tuesday is the following Sunday for NASCAR. Does that make sense? I think I got it right. Yeah. And Ryan Luza he got early on. He hit a car coming to pit lane. Okay, so he was following, and he didn't know they were going to pit in, and he hit him. And that led to a caution, and I'm sure he got it fixed. But he was saying on the radio that it was his fault. Any damage to the right front is like a killer at Texas. So he's saying the car's dead. But with that late wreck that Mullis got in, he lost, like, the front end of the car was gone, rear end of the car was gone, right? And he's restarting 12th or something, which is still like more than enough points to get in the 4th spot, even with Conti winning. And there's like 3 laps left. We're like doing I think we're doing green, red, checkered. We might have had 1 extra lap, but he drops like a rock. I mean, like, I don't know where he finished. He might have finished up like 30 something. Okay. And Luza, who has a dead car for 2/3 of the race, scrapes in. So you got
and steals the 4th spot.
Yeah. So like, I mean, the guy, they were like talking to him. He's like, yeah, we're going to keep going, might as well try. And like, they were like, he's defeated as hell. Like he looked like he could have parked it and been happy, like go have a beer. But yes, not getting a championship race. So now we got Luza, Conti, Ottinger, Zelensky. And it's Monday night, an hour earlier than usual. And who I want to know, I know you guys are just way up on this. You guys got the hot picks, but who's his title favorite?
Conti, do it for Junior.
What was that, Manny? I got Nick.
I think it has to be Zelensky. Zelensky has been abusing people at every given opportunity, particularly on the road courses, of course, where he's infamously dominant.
You think he's
but
gonna be good
beyond that, he's been so consistent over the course of the season. Where you look at the top 10 at any given point in a race, and he's somewhere in there. And it's hard to knock that kind of consistency. Some would even say that's Kyle Busch energy. So
I would say that.
And I think he has the most wins this season, which is very Kyle Busch energy.
That or Keegan. I think he's pretty close. Yeah, the Keegan and the playoff system got him good, though. Let me tell you, when you just getting wrecked 2 out of 3 races or whatever. That's it.
But that's the playoffs, though, and that's NASCAR as a whole. You can be dominant all year. The one race you need to win, you don't. Yella. See you later.
Yella. Okay, Manny. Let's play the F1 bumper.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, you bunch of hot dogs!
F1. If there's anything I think we've learned this season is that, in a lot of ways, reflecting the earlier dynamic with NASCAR's on-track product in a way for me becoming more exciting. I'd say that this mix-up with the schedule with F1 has been absolutely amazing for the most part. The Portimao race last week was great, and it looked like a lot of fun for the drivers, and as a spectator, had some great on-track battles, lots of passing opportunities, and I feel like we saw much of the same at Imola today.
There was no passing at Imola.
No, but the racing was still good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was digging it. It's also just kind of a. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I find personally it's an interesting track to watch the cars circulate on.
Yes.
I don't remember what that corner is called. It's like a drop. It's a right-hander. It's like a double apex, and it's a right-hander. You drop down and go up the
Sector
hill.
2 in the middle of the track. Yeah.
That to me, like both onboard and from like a trackside camera, I like really enjoy watching the cars navigate it. It's really cool.
Obviously, I can't say what it's like since I've never driven Imola in real life. Nick, I think you have before, yeah?
Negatory. Never been to Imola. Misano, yes, but Imola.
Okay. Yeah, with Imola, I mean, that drop looked pretty steep from the onboard. So I can only imagine what it looks like in person, given what the discrepancy is like for turn 1 at Coda from camera to looking at it in person. Like, on camera, turn 1 at Coda looks steep. When you see it in person it's like a mountain.
Like a wall, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Redshift in chat says DRS is OP in Portimao. Useless at Imola. They were saying on the broadcast that it should have been like a couple hundred meters longer, and I do wonder how they calculate that every week.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I
know
never been there, so
I know that obviously you have the detection line, which occurs before the
final corner.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, they still have to decide how long it's going to be.
Exactly.
So
right.
And yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like a miscalculation on their behalf, which I mean, given that they haven't raced there in 10 years, 15 years? It's been a while.
Pretty long.
Yeah, it'll be an F1 calculation versus a team's calculation. I think if teams could do it, it would be sorted. Like they'd figure out easy how to do it, but
Absolutely.
F1 don't have the same money or manpower. But that's why these two races have been so good, because we haven't been there. New surfaces, no one's got any information. Especially the shortened weekend at Imola is a complete mess because no one knows where they stand and everything's as close as it is. Rock up back to Hockenheim or Spa or something, where we go to every year for 15 years. It's the same shit, and the field's stretched out how it normally is.
Right. So do you reckon there's a play there for introducing variety back in the schedule, maybe with a rotating European Grand Prix with
absolutely
Portimao, NERB GP, Imola?
Absolutely. Different time of year, so you mix up the weather conditions you see at Portimao, they've resurfaced it, so like completely new just for
totally
F1.
Green track, yeah.
And it goes, so it's a very thin layer, so they're like coarse rocks, stones that you're kind of used to seeing, like at somewhere like some of the older tracks in America, like VIR and stuff, will be really coarse, like quite rough stones. All the F1 stuff is really smooth now. So when it rains, the water doesn't have anywhere to go. So you saw on lap 1 at Portimao, when it starts to rain, the track, like normally, like that amount of rain wouldn't do anything, but because the water's got nowhere to go, it just sits on the surface, cools the track down, and all of a sudden, like bang, you got racing.
Nick, what is the I want to say Asian Le Mans series went there, the track that's like hyper abrasive?
Sepang?
Buriram?
Malaysia?
I think it was Malaysia. Maybe it was
Sepang,
either it's either I'm thinking Asian Le Mans or WEC, but there was one of them went to like some surface that was like hyper abrasive.
Bahrain's really bad because it's rough and sandy, and Sepang's really bad because the surface is really abrasive, but they've resurfaced it a little bit for the MotoGP bikes, but it's mostly due to the heat and surface, and Bahrain's worse because of the sand.
Well, I imagine it's probably a little bit different with the at least WC and stuff, because they could bring different tires, yes?
Yes, but the compounds don't change so much. So you have there's 6 compounds you're allowed for the year. Generally speaking, you only bring 3, and of those 3, you only use 2. So the soft is literally only for Le Mans, used in the night. And then you have like a medium and a medium plus, which is kind of like a hard, for Michelin anyway. And then they may have different variations of those tires, and generally those variations are just temperature windows that the tire works in.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew that there was. I do remember it was like a big thing. I think it must have been WC, because I remember like Goodyear and GTA 5. Like it was a big deal with Goodyear tired cars versus the Michelin on this like hyper rough surface. Pretty interesting.
Bahrain, maybe. Shanghai's also really bad, and wet goes there. Because you got that really long right-hander, but it's all the same. Like everyone has the same problem, but the reality is that generally everyone's in the same boat. Like everyone gets the same thing. Usually, the only big difference between tire manufacturers is the wet. So Michelin wet is OP. If particularly if it's cold, the wet is just so soft it cuts through the water into the surface. But their drying tire is not as strong as like a Dunlop Inter, and you're not allowed to call them intermediates anymore. But yeah, the Dunlop Inter is very good for running quite.
You're not allowed to
into
call
the
them
dry.
intermediates anymore. Is it a copyright issue?
Yeah, there must be something there happened like a year or two ago. They're called like cut slicks or like a different type of wet. I'm not sure. It came up at Le Mans when we were talking about Inters, but yeah.
Do you mean the 24 hours of French countryside?
Exactly, that race.
I never heard of 24 hours of Le Mans. Yeah.
Me
must
neither.
Be something else.
Yeah, it must be some shit race.
That is.
At least there's top speed records.
Here's something actually. You kind of were talking about. We're going full IRL today, I guess.
No. Bring back memes. I like memes.
I don't know how.
Do you have any Porsche practice footage for us to watch? I mean, we can bring it back.
Dude, my Sebring is going pretty well.
Is it really good?
Yeah, Montreal though.
You were so happy, Tom.
I have a good story. I'm gonna quick ask Nick this question, and then
some bloke in the H4SR chat roasted me about Porsche Cup cars.
Well, you don't know shit about Porsche, right?
Yeah, that cut me deep a little bit. I was prepared to like fire through a whole bunch of photos, but
you didn't say anything.
Yeah,
you didn't say anything.
Oh, I guess one thing we've forgotten to mention in chat, and we'll briefly touch on, Tom, before you continue.
Mm-hmm.
So for many people who may be listening to the pod for the first time, on the H4SR,
we'll also be there last time.
First time, last time.
For many people who may have just heard of it recently, so on the Here for SR Discord, Tom has been posting weekly Porsche Cup qualifier sets that have been claimed to be by some members of the World Championship populace to be stop inviting people to try these sets because I would like to requalify again good. So take from that what you will.
I have it on reasonable authority, and I've been getting advice from a couple guys of that level. And I do preference when I talk to them. I say, "Hey, you're giving set advice to a man who's sharing sets on the forums, and my Discord." And they go, "Yeah, that's
so."
Okay.
In the Discord, Nick, being who Nick is, told Tom that his setup was shit for Montreal, and then
I'm sure
someone countered that Nick didn't know what he was talking about. However, what this person may not be aware is that Nick is actually a real-life Carrera Cup champion in the Porsche. So...
Yeah, so what you're saying is IRL drivers not OP on the sim. Clearly don't know.
Not OP at all.
Not OP.
Let me ask this question, and then we'll talk about some dumbass Porsches.
Didn't out qualify ERO champions by
a second. Literally a second. But
Nick's pretty handy on the sim as well. Don't let him fool you. Okay, you're saying F1 doesn't usually. Yeah, I agree. Doesn't translate on the sim. You're right, Redshift.
Nothing.
Nick was actually. I know. God, we're talking about too much IRL shit. Stop it.
Heaven forbid this be a quality stream.
I thought we were here for tire models, memes, and
gigantic lizard penises.
Wow.
Yeah, if anyone missed the start of the stream, we started playing an RPG with our new podcast, Dungeons and Drivers. And Nick's character is a red lizard man wearing medieval armor, a short sword. He's got a long tail. You got to imagine he's like a bipedal lizard person. And he's got a massive lizard penis. That was like the big... Nick he kept hammering home. He's like, my character has a big dong. He kept saying it. It was weird. That was the first thing he wanted with his character.
Wow. You've thought about this too much, Tom.
I was driving a lot today. Not on the same.
We can tell.
Just on the road. Just on the road.
But your kids in the car as well when you were talking about this?
I wasn't talking about it. No, it was just me. I was driving.
It was just in his head. So he's been fantasizing about this all day, Nick.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I think about. Okay, here's my question. So you talked about F1 not knowing, these new tracks, like they don't have a lot of data on there. Could we see... Does that happen in similar ways with GT3 teams? One, because I know they probably don't have the kind of engineering and data, but also because there's so much GT3 racing. Like, is that really something where like you'd go where there could be like one of the big GT3 series go and they just have nothing?
It'll happen. Like, I think there's talk about like them going to Russia next year and Magny-Cours also this year, but the problem is like testing's pretty open to us, so as soon as there's a new track people will go. The reality is like simulation software isn't as readily available to us, and because nothing is like in GT3 land or GT land, nothing is kind of made specific for our cars. But that's not to say that that it's not possible. Yeah, well, ACC will get you there. So I caught on to that one a bit late. That's not to say that smart people won't work on it and understand it. Like, it's to be honest, it's pretty easy, other than you kind of maybe get there and there's some setup stuff, but that's always going to change anyway with weather, track evolution, and the guys that run our cars, like, they're all over it. They know what it needs when it needs it. So you start somewhere, and it doesn't take long to go in the right direction.
That makes sense. That's
our cars are far less complicated than what those things are.
Yeah, I imagine that. But I mean, they're not like hyper simple. They're no GT4.
No,
car.
It's not a dirt street stock.
Yeah, it's not a Miata, but it's also not a prototype or a Formula car.
They're meant to be customer friendly. Like, that's the whole point of the GT3 formula.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay. Little Porsche talk, Manny. You'll love it. So I did that. Last week was at Montreal, right? And there was that hot fix on Thursday.
Right.
Okay. And your boy, me,
it broke everything, didn't it?
Oh, dude, it got me good. So, I tried to qualify for the VCO thing, the F3 thing on Thursday, and so that was most of my drive time, right? And it was at Bathurst and Coda, which I hate Coda, but regardless, I was like, oh yeah, it feels like my wheel feels like I have to turn it farther than I remember. But I don't drive the F3 a lot, so I thought it was my imagination because I'm a scrub. I assume that it's me and not anything else. But Friday, I get done with work and gonna hit up that Euro SOF, baby. I'm ready. Get done with work, hitting it. Get in. I've driven the Porsche a lot, right? I turn the wheel, and I'm like, this fucker isn't turning at all. These wheels aren't turning. I'm barely doing anything. It definitely changed my wheel range, and I recalibrated a couple times, and it looks right. So like the wheel, 1-to-1 motion with my wheel, everything's good. It's right, but something changed. I don't know why or how. I actually think I like it. It's nice, but for that race and a half or whatever. Very confused. My brain was not liking that at all. So, needless to say, it went poorly. Well, I got like P17 at 29 or something.
Hold on, let me just find it here in the chat. Porsche Cup setup. Tom, S4 Montreal. My comment on the 28th of the 10th at 21:15. Trash setup. So it sticks. Like it was a trash setup.
Yeah. Yep. That tracks. That makes sense.
Called it.
Tough out there.
Probably. I mean, I heard that you want to hack your steering calibration at 200 degrees. Problem solved.
No steering problems if you don't move. That's a good point.
That's another thing.
Hard to argue.
That's another thing. I tried driving the C8R on baseline, and holy shit!
Yikes!
You turn the wheel, it's like nothing. Nothing happens. Car just goes careening straight into the wall, no matter what. It does
that with the normal real range too on baseline.
It understeers so bad. It is bad.
So, speaking of the C8R, so for our ERO league race, which Nick briefly mentioned earlier,
did you cheat?
Sponsored by Apex Hunters United. We didn't in terms of fuel saving, but I think we had a grip.exe hack because we were. See you later.
You're too good, Nick. You're too good.
Nick almost broke the 2-minute barrier in a P2 at Spa, so.
I assume that's good. That's quite.
Cooked the final chicane. Okay.
But anyway, so GTE obviously has not been to Spa in any series as of yet on iRacing. I believe the first one will be in 2 weeks, maybe for ILMS, possibly.
Is that true?
But
I don't know.
I think so. But so the point is, no one had a setup for GTE, and because they did a huge revamp this season, none of the old setups are going to work for that.
Sure.
And if you're using a new car, like say the Corvette C8R, there's nothing to go off of. So what we discovered is that when you start on something pretty close to the baseline, when you break into the final chicane at Spa, the pitch of the car is insane. How would you describe the pitch of the first setup?
You're going this away and the car's going that away. And you're like, over there, what?
I can't wait for all the audio listeners to really enjoy that.
That was good. That was good.
Top quality.
No, it was absolutely on brand for this podcast.
This episode is bordered on coherent up to now.
It's true. It's been surprisingly. It's had a flow. It's had a direction. I almost want to stop it. Anyway, I do think that the Montreal setup was too low. That's what I was hearing. I think some of the guys were running higher
at the game.
See, I raised the car up. I really wasn't faster. I don't know. So,
I mean, I could tell you without driving it that you're going to want to run a relatively high setup at Montreal because of how you have to use the curbs.
Well, it's not bottoming out.
I don't. So. Does that feel like it takes a rocket scientist? No, but it's for the travel.
Yeah, that was the idea. It didn't make a huge difference from but maybe I didn't go high enough. So we'll see. Anyway, Sebring, I love.
I feel like we've already seen based on your review. So.
Well, here's the thing, right? I still gained a bunch of IR that week.
Hell yeah!
So it's either that I'm outperforming my IR or just that set is OP as hell. Because you know me.
I feel like it could be the former to your credit, Tom. You put in a lot of time for practice, and given that fact, I would expect that you would pass other people at a similar IR that prepare significantly less.
God,
if you
I hope so.
Grind at one thing for long enough, sure, you get good.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll get there someday, Nick. Make a setup for a Canada that doesn't get slowdowns. I didn't get any slowdowns, actually.
Never the driver's fault, always setup. So if you didn't get slowdowns on your setup, Tom, then it's a hyperdog.
Oh, here's the thing, though. I was running P2 in, I don't know, it wasn't a great split. I was like car 7. And chasing down this one fella who had already sent it 3 wide into the chicane in Montreal. Let him go. I didn't much care for it, though, if I'm honest. Dude splits me and another guy going to the chicane. That's fine. Whatever. I would have done it. Oh, my God. Oh,
where does this go now?
Oh, no. And he gets a slow down before the hairpin, right? So, and he oh, Jesus Christ. He pulls to the far right to defend with the slowdown. So I go around the outside. He defends. We touch. I get turned in front of him. He pushes me. I go rolling. Okay. I ended up back on four wheels. I think I still finished like fifth. But regardless, I was like, hey, man, I don't know if I like that you're blocking with slowdowns. And he said, no rules against it. And I said, that's probably true. But I just thought it was kind of lame. He was probably a fine bloke, but kind of reminds me of a Foster, you know what I mean? It's kind of a nickname.
Yeah, I'd block you if I had a slowdown.
See? I knew it.
He's here to win.
What am I here to do?
Make friends?
Looks like if I'm Nick, you can try to block Tom all you want, but I can break through the wall, baby. Let's try. Anyone else tries to say Tom, though, no way they're saying it in chat anymore. Nick's blocked a bunch of words, so good luck. Good luck chatting.
If you can guess which ones they are, I'll give you a prize.
Oh, what kind of prize? I won't tell you any of the other ones. What's the prize?
But I'll remove that one because Tom gave it away.
Yeah.
I'll make it up.
Okay. Yeah, there are 6 words. No, five other words that Nick has blocked.
Yeah, 5 now.
That apparently you get a prize if you guess. Good luck.
Some quality AHU gift card energy. Might be like a $5 gift card, but
that's I could. I assume we're not.
Would that finally get you to buy a hat, Tom?
I actually should put an order in.
He needs one. That thing's terrible. He doesn't even sit square on his head.
That's just my ears. One's lower than the other.
Wait.
Ask if I'm
Are
joking.
you serious?
Do you think I'm joking? I don't know. Am I joking?
We're crossing grave territory now.
What do you think?
Oh dear.
Do you think it's a joke or not a joke? I want to know.
I mean, now that I've seen it, it kind of speaks for itself, no?
Another part of the pod, great for audio only audience. Yeah, which is amazingly.
That's what we do here.
Which is amazingly most of the audience. Isn't that messed up? Isn't that messed up that you missed this live chat?
I feel
and
like
all this video content. It's messed up.
I feel like. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say our appeal, but I feel like a lot of the understanding of this hedges on your ability to watch our faces and hand motions as things transpire.
Yeah, if you're an audio only listener, fuck you.
So what? Do we double down from just us watching it and like a couple of people that we know to a couple of other people who can't watch it now watch it a little bit later?
No. Well,
good.
So you're saying we don't do it live at all? That's what you're saying?
No. I'm being facetious about the podcast.
My humor goes right over my head. You know that.
Yeah. Anything intellectual by the sounds of it.
That's right. No, but the biggest.
At least it's a pretty face.
Apparently the biggest audience that we have is the audio only. That's the biggest percentage of the audience.
It's like 70% of our total.
What numbers are we talking here, Tom? Are we talking big numbers?
Dozens.
Well, between the Twitch and the YouTube and the pod, I mean, it is over 100. Thank God. But like,
people listen to this.
That's surprisingly high.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends a little bit on the episode, but like, I was surprised too.
I feel like the last one probably rated quite highly.
But more people listen to the audio only than watch it on YouTube or watch on Twitch. And also, apparently, most people don't watch live on Twitch. They watch after the fact. That's also confusing to me. I don't understand. Whatever. Do what you gotta do.
VOD is live.
I mean, that part is true. I don't watch anything live, so because regardless.
I only watch Redshift streams live. Other than that,
nice. Fuck Redshift. Yeah, I got you. I hear you loud and clear, brother. Damn, what were we talking about? See, now we're derailed. This is
Listen,
classic.
I got lost like 10 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, you know the Porsche deal, right? I feel good at Sebring. As of yesterday, I was going faster than Brian Lockwood. God bless.
Oof.
God bless him.
Has he turned a lap yet?
Yep, we did about the same amount of time in. So,
Rip.
you want me to check now? Should I check now? Should I check live on the show?
Yeah, let's
Is it
check live in the
faster?
chat.
Because we're both using VRS conditions.
Great friend of the pod, Brian Lockwood. Praise be.
Oh God, I can still see his data. Okay, so I did at VRS track conditions at 202.85. Okay.
Sounds quite decent, actually.
It's a second off Josh's, so.
That's about what the Super Cup spread is now.
Oh, he did just recently. He did a 202.67. Brian got me. He got me.
Oh, order's been restored.
Before that, he didn't break into the twos. But now he's done it. He's done it. I'll be looking how he did it later, and I'll be sure to fuck with him. Anyway, that's too bad. We thought we really had some great content here, but nope. Foiled again. Abro's trash. You heard it here first. Brian faster than Tom. Yes. I mean, well, that. Yes. In all things. It's like if I ever went faster than you, Nick.
I never felt like it was in doubt. Honestly, when you told me that you were ahead of him, I'm like, have you refreshed the page?
I was surprised too.
He must be still on an outlap.
Logging out laps half a second faster than his flyers.
Hey, I'd take it. Some days I think I'd take it. I'll be straight up with you. At Montreal, I think I might have taken it. Brian finished 16th in the Super Session race yesterday, so good points.
And I'm guessing the soft was probably huge.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I don't know what it was. Probably ridiculous.
It's probably above 7K.
What's up?
What's a Super Session?
Nick, didn't you ask about this last time?
Maybe.
Yes, how the Porsche thing worked.
Basically, you take your results from the week, and the top finishers are invited to one session altogether on Saturday morning.
And then of that time slot, the top 30 in points for the week get in. Remember
Roger?
this?
And that's going to be the one that decides.
You must either been kind of drunk or like just so tired when we talked about this last time.
Literally, first of all, it was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember half the shit that Matty says to me yesterday. And second,
or today.
If you told me, for sure I wasn't listening anyway.
Brutal. Goddamn. Okay, so the deal is, right, the Porsche series, it's kind of interesting with the Super Session, though, because so I have not been in a race yet that would, if I would have won, I would have got in. Okay. But both weeks I was in a race where I was the one car, and if I would have been up a split, so I missed out by one car, I would have been in races that sent guys to the Super Sessions. So
you're in the right time slot, but you need to make the leap.
Like a couple hundred. But my point was that it's...
What are you? 4,500 now?
4,200. But my point was that you don't need a massive IR to get into Super Session, in theory. So like if
should be fast.
Yeah, if you were at 4,500, as long as you kind of hit on the right time slots, you could get in. So like I was just...
Sounds like you need to get on that rough farming.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the pace to get in anyway, so it's not like a massive deal. So I mean, I could have farmed all I wanted, but if I don't go fast enough, like it doesn't matter. So, but it is interesting that because I want to say, because I bet you, my IR in the old format would have been impossible to score that much.
Right.
So now you actually, you could be sub 5K and qualify.
That I would say is a very good thing.
I think that's good.
When you look at, for example, what happens with the Coke Series, where Road to Pro participation is so high that you can get sent from third split into the Pro Series. I think it says a lot that there's that much interest where basically if you run enough people, you'll generate enough points to where you don't have to quit your full-time job and grind 7K iRating to just be able to participate in the qualifiers. I think that's to iRacing's benefit.
I think it's great. I think actually it's working as intended. There is a iRating threshold, but it's not ridiculous. It's not something that you need to like grind IR for. Because I mean, I understand.
Nick, you should do the Sebring session.
Yeah, come on, just run it with me. I got a set.
Cool.
Oh, come on, buddy. Come on.
I mean, you only have to do one race.
We'll have fun.
And I think it's Friday afternoon
Friday,
in Euro prime time.
Friday 8 wait, now with the time change. It's like 8 o'clock your time or something.
Bro, I'm on that high downforce grind.
This is not that.
Nick is a beast in the P2, to his credit. He's very handy in the P2. Who would have thought a real life LMP2 driver gets a brand new LMP added to the game and is miraculously competitive?
Nick, show me the way.
What are the odds?
I'm shitty in downforce cars.
This is your new TCR, Nick.
I like the OG TCR. The new one sucks.
The OG TCR is a thing of glory.
With cold tires, like 5 laps to build temp up, and then burn the tires off in like 4 laps. That was great fun.
And having to change the brake pressure valve lap to lap and adjust the bias. Oh my god, that was so much fun.
Dudes that are like 7K roasting me at the end of a race, asking how I beat them on a baseline setup.
So you're
no,
the original.
I understood that thing. Not good at iRacing.
I mean, we got close to 6K, didn't we, Nick?
Yeah, 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, the TCR grind was it was something special.
GT3 also at that time was really strong. I feel like it's coming back that way a bit now.
Yeah, I'd say the latest model on GT3 is pretty decent, and I think right now how the GTs drive is the best it's ever been on the service.
Yeah, that's actually fair. Nick, do you have any interest in high level iRacing competition?
Not really. I think it's too serious for me. Like even the whole team thing at the moment, I'm ready to get in with that and just do my own thing. Just because I don't know, it's all a bit too serious. Like we're talking about guys like signing forms to say they're not going to swear on streams. Like, bro, like we're sim racing and there's like 15 people watching us race, if that. Like, who cares? I mean, it's a game.
And I feel like
it's a game.
That brings up a.
Oh my god! He said that.
But it's cool, right? Like it's a sim.
Absolutely.
Like it's all good to do it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we're all hobbyists, and it's a game. Like no matter how serious you take it,
some guys aren't hobbyists though.
Have the screen. Right. Well, if you're getting paid to do it, it's a different story. But when you're me, just like hanging out here, drinking beers and doing a race, it's a game.
Yeah. That's fine. And that's fine. I don't think that like the way you do it or the way someone else does it is like right or wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that at all.
No, but that's a great point, Nick, and it calls into question for me, like, why would you have someone sign a form? I could absolutely understand having because even us at Ascari, who's functionally speaking an amateur group of billies who gets together, every couple months for special events. But even for us, like, we have a stated zero tolerance policy on discrimination and racial abuse, and
standard.
Exactly. Like expecting you to be a decent human being is perfectly normal. But for you to then go from that to telling me I can't swear on stream, like it's the PBSification of like what makes sim racing somewhat interesting, where you have actual personalities and it's not just like a media profile dumped on you.
Well,
that's effectively what some of it's becoming.
Well, so here's the thing, right?
That's terrible. That doesn't make me happy. I think that
I think from one point of view, from one standpoint, I think if you are a very high level, and I think that at this point we have very few teams and drivers at kind of this level. But if you are a team manager and you are beholden to sponsors in a certain way that want a certain appearance from the team,
right?
I understand. However, I think, well, one, if money isn't changing hands and you're not willing to if you're not on a contract,
I feel like it changes at the point that you're compensated and exclusive to an organization because you're being compensated.
If you don't have a contract that someone will bring legal action against you, a signed thing isn't going to do much. Secondly, I think that you could easily do yourself a disservice by neutering the personality of your drivers doing something like that. I think there's a like a reasonable thing. Don't say fuck what's his name on stream. What a piece of shit. Get him off iRacing. Sure. But
you're
gonna
say Manny
what's wrong with that though? This is the thing, right? So we're dragging like real professional life into sim because there's money involved in it. Money's changing hands. It's all cool. And it's great. It's great that our industry can branch and spend money with people that have no opportunity to do what we do. That's mega.
And that's what's great about high level sim competition, right? Yeah.
But when we got dudes like sitting at home in the lounge room drinking a beer on their Logitech G25, and they get unloaded by Bill Bob with his 3 kids who are actually his cousins, yelling in the background, and you go, "Hey,
why are you talking about Maynard like this on stream?"
Right? Hey, Maynard, fuck you, man! That was shit. And then someone's like, "Whoa, that guy swore on stream. What an asshole! Let's pull his funding. Let's all void his Twitch." It's like, come on,
man. I think it just depends on what kind of who you're beholden to and what's your audience. I mean, really. I mean, because
that's fair. That's fair.
Know. If you're if you're a co-anda driver, you probably have certain expectations put on you.
But that's very different. I mean, that is a full-time professional sim driver.
Yeah, but I'm saying there are teams like that. But
I think what Nick is pointing out specifically is the in-between.
Okay, if Manny came to me and said, you need to sign this thing that says...
Oh, you can't say fuck Mick anymore.
Yeah, see, well, okay, that would be... No way. Good luck getting me to sign that shit. But you can't say massive lizard penis on stream. I'd be like, okay, bud, we're
I feel like we maybe should have that clause anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We can't say that anymore. That's fucked up. Right. Especially when Tom's thinking about it with his kids in the car. This is a mess.
They were not in the car. There's no children in the car.
I mean, he's right. He's drawing it out, and his kids are there helping him do the drawings for these characters. It's unreal. Someone's got to put a stop to it. But anyway, getting back to the point.
I said, this is Mr. Nick Foster. This is Daddy's friend. This is
Daddy's special friend.
Friend is a really loose term between us, bro.
You should have seen Alex's face. I'm going to put that on the soundboard.
Can't believe you fucked this up. But okay, let's say this. Let's say Manny swiped a sponsor the Taco Bell from down the road.
Okay.
And they wanted stickers on the car and you boys streaming and okay. And it's okay, because Taco Bell's a professional company. We want you guys to be professional. And Redshift Z and Tom and everyone who's streaming and doing all right, all of a sudden stops. I'm not saying you do, but stops I don't know if you've ever listened to one of my races, but it's a pure commentary on smashing everyone around me, and say that's how you operate, and you've got thousands of followers because of that's how you operate, and you talk to them, and all of a sudden you're dry as a bone because you got to be professional. That's no longer you. That's no longer your stream, and what a waste of an audience.
It's taken away all the value you were adding in terms of a media product.
But I think that's what I said about it all depends on your audience and who you're beholden to.
Yeah. I think that also reflects, and I think that's Nick's point, I think it reflects as well on the teams. You got to know who you're working with, right? And if you're not working with people that are compatible with who you have on board, then you either need to change the people you have on board or change who you're trying to partner up with.
Mm-hmm. Like someone that Here for Us are sponsored. Well, they could probably say all kinds of dumb shit.
Yeah, and Redshift in chat points out a couple good things. So one, reinforcing that the influx of money into sim racing this year in particular has had significant ripples throughout the community, with the top prize for the Coke Championship more than tripling from last year. He also points out that there was a YouTube compilation, a weekly compilation, pointed out earlier on the Ascari Discord that in an NIS Martinsville race this week, Casey Kerwin, who drives for Denny Hamlin and Jordan, got turned, and then the chat just got super toxic between him and ex-pro guy who's now a washed-up has-been.
Casey said, with new tires, you can't make it through the corner. That's what he said. Which, a little salty, but I get it, man. That's fine.
And even that, that's a perfectly normal, frustrated comment to make. He didn't denigrate the person. He didn't point out any personal traits. He's just like, wow, I can't believe you have new tires and still, fuck this up, functionally speaking. That's a normal thing to say in the heat of the moment. But for that person who is an ex-pro to then come back and start talking about fellatio and calling a guy, a trash, and otherwise.
I believe the quote was such and such. You still have Casey's dick in your mouth,
Yeah,
that's weak. But then that shows a person more than whatever. But yeah, if it's getting that toxic, then something needs to be done. But from telling someone they're trash, grouse. All about it.
Or telling them to take it back to GameStop. I'll freely admit to having done that more than once.
That's a pretty good line. That's so
because I feel like, and it's natural, right? You're in the heat of the moment in a heated battle. Shit happens. Happens in real life. Happens on the sim. How you react to that varies by person. For me, generally speaking, I don't really care one way or the other. I'm interested in having a competitive race and finishing well. However, if something happens that's beyond my control, all you can do is really laugh. However, when that person who is at fault in an incident then comes back at you and, starts denigrating you either for personal reasons or, as I've had happen to me on more than one occasion, over my name and un-American, name. I've had that happen before in a NASCAR race, and I was shocked by it when it happened. But there's a big, big difference between saying some flippant comment like, take it back to GameStop, or, attacking a person.
I do think, too, that just in general, again, the audience thing and understanding that if you want to be Coke, that iRacing has a certain, you are not just beholden to your team, but iRacing has a certain product they want to display in a certain way, so that if you're Joe Schmo, whatever the hell, you say some shit like that, I don't know, whatever, maybe you get a protest, maybe you don't. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You're kind of being a dick, but whatever. Doesn't matter. But if you're gonna think you want to go pro, you got to think on what iRacing, what kind of product there. I mean, I imagine for you, Nick.
There's a big difference between guys trying to compete at an amateur to intermediate level and people pushing for pro and world championship licenses.
I guess. And yeah. But I mean, imagine for you, Nick, if you're wearing the team shirt on whatever weekend, right?
I am.
You have
on my head.
You have there are certain expectations of what you should and say and not say. If you're representing some sort of brand, and I'm not saying it's like, you might say like that guy's shit, whatever, shouldn't be on the track. That's like one thing. But I imagine like there are probably things that you could say that would like hurt your career badly.
Sure. But that's in any industry. You could walk into the plastic shop tomorrow and tell them all they're fuckwits and be as fast out as I would by saying bad things about Manny, which I do on a regular basis. But it's in any industry.
And I keep coming back like an abusive girlfriend or an unpaid intern. I mean,
unpaid intern.
I think your point. I think your unpaid intern. I think your point's very valid, Nick. And I do think that a lot of teams could probably do themselves a big disservice because, like, I don't know. I imagine a lot of these personalities, like, it's entertaining. Whatever, like a little bit of toxicity. It totally is like funny and guys.
This is what I don't understand about NASCAR, right? So I get it. Like it's a massive industry. Sponsorship dollars are huge, and people like, especially nowadays, people garner their sponsorship from a young age. So the guys that are like, I look at the guys in Junior's team, like the guys that are sponsoring the cars are like their people, not Junior sponsors.
Yeah, like Hellmann's and like actual.
Exactly, right? So one of the best things about NASCAR for me is that you have massive personalities and they clash. And I mean, it's real life, but shown on TV. It's a reality television show, and it should be that. Yeah, like if you look at what F1 was 10 years ago, what supercars is sort of becoming, or was at least like a couple of years ago, everything's like tie, button, black pants. Yeah, there's no.
I feel like it's gotten more fun again for supercars in particular.
Yeah, supercars for sure has gotten better, like because there's been a big emphasis on it. F1 like has seen what it means to kind of bring back personality into people, like the young blokes kind of be their young blokes, like Twitch stream mid sessions, mid weekends, like they're kids reality. And NASCAR's the same. Like you got red-blooded, hot-headed Americans, renegades, taking each other out to win a race, and then we all want to see a punch on in pit lane, but then when there is one, they're like, oh, whoa, hold on, we can't punch on about our feelings.
Well,
like, where's the line?
You can only go as far as the threshold for public to like it, because like the sponsors only want. If guys find it appealing, if the audience finds it appealing, then you can do whatever. But once that threshold's reached, from whether it's offending or just unpleasant, then you all of a sudden have ruined that for your sponsors and yourself.
Yeah, I feel like it was already ruined by the car of tomorrow. So with NASCAR in particular, I think they're fine.
Only way is up.
Yeah.
How dare you? COT without the wing, totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, it's basically a very fast Gen 4 with fuel injection.
That's good. I like those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a weird line and maybe a transition for sim racing where people are probably going to do it.
We're definitely in that transitional phase.
They're going to do it well and they're going to do it badly, where the professionalism is ramping up.
Like have a look at top streams, right?
Mm-hmm.
The streams that you go to watch are not the bloke that's like sitting there like this, like just wheeling the thing, not saying nothing, just focused on a W. Yeah, the guy that you're watching is the guy that's like laughing and carrying on and talking shit the whole race because it's exciting, it's entertaining, he's talking to you, whatever it might be.
I think, and to your point, Nick, one of the coolest things for streaming, in my opinion, over the past few months, has been VRS starting their own starting to stream regularly on their own channel and having those guys interact with the population. I mean, it's changed it from being a relationship between what most people know as a setup builder and carrying those stocks into your third split IMSA races, to seeing actual human beings laughing and interacting with chat, and simultaneously being mildly educational with the level of talent put on display. But it's been great to see them as people versus just a corporation.
Yeah, I mean, those guys. I bet you, I'm sure, are obligated to not say certain things on stream. But yeah, that is a certain sort of product. It's interesting. I think it's an interesting point, and I guess you hope that the guys that are doing it are doing it for the right reasons. Are like asking their guys to whether they're being PC or they have these rules and not misunderstanding the situation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I understand there's like, they're probably like worried about their drivers reflecting on their team badly. But in the end, maybe it's honestly part of the problem of you just didn't bring on the right guys if you really think that they can't do it naturally. And it's to a certain extent. And maybe it's hard, but like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
I think it's growing pains ultimately, particularly over the last 2 years with Porsche and Coca-Cola getting involved and NASCAR taking, I would say, a much more active role in their interaction with the NASCAR World Championship on iRacing. That we're having this conversation at all about the professionalism of simulated racing.
Games.
I like that. It's amazing
Games,
how far we've come. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, whenever there's money involved, I guess it's bound to be a thing. I do. You ever is there ever like is it just like, Nick, when you are running for something, have you ever had a team tell you or ask you to do certain things in a certain way?
I have been asked once to lie about a mechanical issue that we had to basically make the team not look so bad, but it was effectively lying about a manufacturer versus the team, and I thought that was a bit like, if I'm asked to own up to my mistakes, I happily will. So why won't a team own up to their mistakes? Why would they then blame a manufacturer on an electrical problem or something like that? Like
I'm sure that's going to go great for the manufacturer-customer team relationship.
Yeah, especially when it was a manufacturer-supported car. So yeah, I'm pretty.
Not a good look.
I'm pretty easy, bro. Like I'll do what I need to do, and I'm not going to call anyone out for anything, but I'm also not going to.
It's just a game.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Kind of I wonder if, and of course it'll never reach the heights that like real life racing will, but I wonder if there's
never say never. Have you seen Robo Race this week? I mean, we're going to the top.
God, I wonder if in like the.
Okay, all right. Let's go back on that.
Okay.
Did you see same time today or yesterday? Can't remember. There was a ACC race, God's time model, and GT Open qualifying. The sim race had 1.5k followers. The GT Open qualifying session had like 300.
Wow,
that is pretty wild. Well,
and ACC is not even for money. ACC is a game.
Yeah, I hear that. It's the real game, the only game.
No, it's a console.
It is.
It is. They do play it on Xbox and they do play it on PlayStation.
That might be more popular that way. Anyway, my thought was, I wonder if in the '60s I wonder if people said similar things about racing and saying, "Oh, it's so professional. It's so unpersonalized."
Yeah,
I probably happened more in like the '90s, but I mean, I bet you people kind of had similar things to say about it. I don't know. You kind of wonder about that. Like, I know people kind of say that about NASCAR even now. How it from like the good old days, them boys would figure it out in the garage or whatever. I don't know whatever they say. I think it's kind of funny though. I actually don't. Maybe it's just me being a little sensey boy, but I actually don't find when guys really are assholes over the radio, or when like they're like the NASCAR boys are fighting, I find it a little bit off-putting. I'm like, ugh, these idiots. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I feel like there's
a
healthy balance, I think, between expressing frustration being actively toxic, because as much as we see it in real NASCAR, as you pointed out, it happens on the sim too. There are, especially the oval community, which is pretty tight knit, especially like once you get above that 3,200 I rating and start getting in a top split regularly, you'll grow to recognize these names. You know who races clean, you know who's known for wrecking, you know who's known for being toxic in chat. And those names, I mean, that's your reputation you're carrying with you. And if you do eventually make it to the mountaintop, that's going to reflect as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't like fighting in hockey either, so I don't know. It's just me.
I only started watching hockey this Stanley Cup, and it was actually awesome.
Yeah, hockey's pretty
kind
big.
of. I'll probably watch hockey a little more going forward.
Anyway, I mean, that's true. We didn't just confirm it now, buddy. But yeah, it's an interesting point, Nick, and this is why we just keep having you back. Why you keep getting that beer money every week.
Oh, I've had to carry over this week because I didn't get paid, but
yeah. I'm glad.
Just split the beer in half, you'll be fine.
Pour some back in a bottle and then
just
cap it.
just buy a tall boy, reseal the top, and you're sorted.
Yeah.
Like a good lady, I'll go to the bathroom after and throw my fingers down the throat. On the one I've had, sorry, this is actually my second tonight. On the two I've had tonight, and save them for tomorrow.
Get a refund. Yeah, I get a refund.
I don't know if you know how bodily functions work, but good luck.
It works for penguins. I don't see why it wouldn't work for Nick.
It's like basically the same thing.
Birds feed their children by regurgitating. Why can't I?
This week on Dungeons.
You mean government drones?
Government drones, because birds aren't real. Correct.
This week on Dungeons and Drivers, Nick is playing a male cyborg penguin who regurgitates beers and saves them the next day with a massive penis. So.
Oh, here we go again. Nick's not even going to comment anymore. He's done.
No, I was focused on something else. Sorry.
That's fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. I know what's important here. Are we done? Are we through? I think we might be through. Never an awkward pause on this show.
Never a single one. We're a professional organization.
Audio. You know, at one point in time, I had a very short thought on how iRacers Lounge uses that software that like gets rid of the pause, the dead air.
Right.
And I was like, nah, that's stupid. Our show's great with all this dead air. Love it. Embrace
There's
it.
not really that much dead air though.
No,
I've listened back to a couple of our episodes.
Do you want some? I could mute you, and then we could have some.
You mean like I muted Nick at the beginning of the call?
Hang on. Let me play this bit.
Oh. Can't believe you fucked this up. One fucking job.
One fucking job. Okay.
Instant classic.
Wow. You're really bad at what you do.
No, I'm great.
First of all, we've had the same background for 3 weeks.
And it's.
We haven't even started talking about that background video
we're
either.
Up to episode 9, and we're still watching you like draw around in an absolute shitbox, like below slow, and everyone has to watch it, and not just like once. We have to watch it 9 times,
Nick,
and then
the audio only
minimum, and that's if he starts on
it.
time. That's if he starts on time, Nick.
I know.
Do you wanna take over the OBS or?
No, I'm just a guest.
Nah, bro, you're
I'm just a guest.
Guest starter.
That's what they always say.
Rock up, turn the camera on, and yalla, off we go.
It's just like your race.
I have to say, adding the webcam, absolutely improvement to the show.
Very excellent.
I feel like our gender demographic is definitely going to skew closer to even after this.
Why? Because there's another white male.
I mean, that brings the total to 2.
So we're no longer a minority, so we might get a few more views. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Redshift. I did, in fact, vacuum today.
Wow,
That's
that
what we
is
do
nice.
here.
Wow, you can tell. That is really nice, Manny.
I'm a clean man. What can I say?
I wouldn't say that.
Doesn't like hanging these photos though.
Yeah, it is kind of.
To be fair with the photos, I need something Tom is working on to be able to decide placement.
Oh, I love it. Love it. A little C5R action. Hey, unless you guys got anything else, I think it's about time to call it. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes,
That
Nick?
seems fair.
Thank the Lord, yeah.
See, Nick's really, guys, don't trust Nick for a fucking second. He's like, I hate doing this show. I can't wait to leave. Fuck this show. This show sucks. Tom's a piece of shit. He doesn't know how to use OBS. And then last week, he was like, we doing the show right now? We doing the show? And I was like, no, I can't do the show. And he's like, let's do the show. And I'm like, nah, I can't do the show.
Actually, that was more aimed at Manny. Like, now's a perfect opportunity for us to actually get a good audience because Tom's not here.
Oh,
This is true.
Damn.
It just we happen to be talking about you in front of you.
I understand.
It's poor form, but
hey,
it's just that the podcast chat, like you're in it, so it's hard to. Otherwise, we'd just be having a chat privately, and then that'd be a
we could just have it on WhatsApp, like it's fine.
We could have, like, we wanted to designate that it was a podcast chat, and we're having it, and we wanted to have the show, and make it better because you weren't there.
Sure, that makes sense. I'll tell you what. Next week.
What the fuck would we do hosting an episode on our own, Nick?
Oh, nothing.
We'd get through it. 100%.
You know what? I think you should experiment and maybe have one this week. Just a little. You'll stream Nick. I don't know, Nick. What do you do? What would you do if you weren't racing?
3D print.
Yeah.
Set up the cam on the 3D print, and you call it an
arts and crafts stream.
Yeah, that would be nice.
An arts and crafts special.
You can either figure it out yourselves, or I'll just set up this template and then click go on my computer and fuck off for the rest of the time.
And
you
can watch me play on the computer and then press print, and then the rest of the 7 hours can just be watching the printer while I fuck off and do something else.
I'll be honest, Nick. I bet you'd get more views just watching a 3D printer than what the show gets now.
Probably.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty solid, safe bet.
I guarantee you there's more people interested in 3D printing than 3 dumbasses talking about iRacing. Sorry.
2 white guys and a minority.
Yeah. A minority. It sounds like Maynard in here.
I'm sure Maynard would have said something far more aggressive.
Yes, Redshift. That's how we become an ASMR leader in podcasts.
See what's kind of funny, right? Is that Maynard would have said somehow this is what goes on to Maynard. He'd say, yeah, the host of that podcast, we got Tom, Manny, and the Mexican. Somehow that's how he's put this, like, organized this in his brain, that Nick is the Mexican. It must be the hat, right? It's the hat.
100% it's the hat.
I'm wearing a better hat today, though.
Yeah,
it is a great hat.
Yeah, no, they're good hats. You're a good hat lad.
I can wear another good one next week if you want.
Also, quality shirts, quality sponsor.
So that means that Nick is coming back on the show. You heard it here. See, he says this, fuck the show, I hate doing it, can't wait to get off. And he's like, see you back next week. He's like, he loves the abuse, man. He hates himself. That's why he does it. That must be it.
No, I think that his hatred for me outweighs. Yeah,
it's just more opportunity to rip on you, Tom, and on a public forum is even better.
Yeah, you do it. You do it
disseminated through various mediums. I mean, what more could you ask for?
I know. People can go on Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all different platforms where they can hear me roast you, not in a private space, in a public space.
Damn, you are good at this. You told them all the platforms they can listen to. Holy
that was incredible.
And you did it like in like it was a smooth.
Fuck, that was integrated.
Really
I mean, that was beautiful integrated
marketing.
Anyone
would think public relations is involved in what I do.
Are you saying that there's more to racing cars professionally than driving fast?
Absolutely not.
Holy shit. And on that bombshell.
Just drive cars fast. Cargo Bear.
Redshift. Yeah.
Oh shit, guys. You know who had a wheel disconnect today?
Honestly, Tom, where does that rate in top 5 happiest moments of your life?
Oh well, I'll be straight with you though. It kind of bummed me out though because it looked like he was gonna split the Mercs, which I would have liked.
That would have been good.
That would have been fun.
He drove a brilliant race.
Do I wish it would have been Albon? Absolutely, but I would have taken it.
Wow.
Poor
Sweet karma comes straight from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way to Imola. What is it? San Marino?
Not really.
No.
Emiliano Romano.
Sounds like a cheese.
That's my favorite cheese.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that at HEB.
It's a region in Italia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't routinely go to Italy, so I'll take your word for it.
What do you know about Europe? You're from Australia.
Nice.
Well, after January 31st, is it January 31st, Nick? He won't know much about Europe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Why is that when his brain erases and he has to start anew?
No, that's when the UK leaves the European Union.
My brain erased when I joined this podcast.
I feel bad.
And on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in to Here for Smooth Brain.
Oh, Redshift. While you mention it, just Tuesday night we'll be sure to live stream the election results
with lots of nuanced, objective analysis.
Can you imagine? Oh my god!
I'm half tempted now.
Oh, you'd have to find another platform because holy shit, we'd upset half of our listeners or more. Maybe all the listeners somehow.
Just Maynard.
Oh,
just Maynard.
I love how you say it, Maynard.
All right,
let's go. I'm done.
All right, thank you everyone for tuning in.